before entering into the domain and range of a function, first discuss what is a function. So function is a relation between the input and the output. Let's have a discussion about it. Let's say suppose we have a function. So let's say I am saying y is equals to x square. This is a function. Why it is a function? Because there is an input and there is an output. So y called it as the output. I am writing output as like this. And my x is my input. Okay. I am taking x variable as my input. You can change x or y or some another alphabet also, right, as an input and output. But generally, we are taking x as an input and y as an output. Whatever I am putting in the place of x, let's say I am putting x as 1. I know that square of 1 is 1, so my output is 1. If I am putting x as negative 1, I know that negative 1 square is again 1, so output is 1. If I am taking x as 0, y is coming 0. Means every input gives me a different output or sometimes same output also, right? So whenever we have something as an input and I'm getting something as an output, that is called as a function, correct? So function could be a polynomial function also. It could be a exponential function also. It could be a logarithm function also. It could be a trigonometric function also. Let's say suppose y is equals to sine 2x. So the function could be anything. So these are the parent function that we are talking about. Parent function means the polynomial function is a parent function, exponential function, logarithm function, trigonometric function. We have absolute integer function, something like that, right? Now, it's very clear. Now there is an input and there is an output. Let's talk about the domain and range. First of all, I'm taking the same function. Let's say I'm taking y is equals to x squared, correct? I can take any value of x. It could be negative, positive, zero, fraction, integer, could be any value, right? So I can say the domain. So domain is nothing, just the input of mine. Okay, whatever I am putting in the place of x. So here in this function, I can put any value of x. I am getting something as an output. So whenever we can put any value of x, we can say that x belongs to R. This is my domain. Means R means what? R is nothing. It's the any real number, means number which lies on the x-axis. I can't take an imaginary number. I can take any real number which is present on my x-axis. On x-axis, we have the positive value here. Here we have the negative value. In between, we have the decimal values. We have fraction also. We have irrational numbers also, like root 2, root 3, and so on, right? So these are the real numbers, correct? So domain is, so one way to write a domain is like this, and another way I can write a domain as x belongs to negative infinity to infinity. Now it's very important to understand, means I can take any value of x on the x-axis, right? So I can stay the last value of on the x-axis minus infinity on the left hand side, on the right hand side it's infinity. So I can write from minus infinity to infinity. This is my left hand side value, this is my right hand side value. I don't know what is the maximum value or the minimum value, so I can write minus infinity to infinity, right? I can write this. Now why I'm using this open bracket? Whenever I don't know my minimum or the maximum value, I can use this open bracket. If I know that I can only take the value, let's say there is a condition that you can take x only greater than equals to 2, means either 2 or greater than 2. So I will write, because I know that 2 is my minimum value, so 2 I will write with the this square bracket, because I know the minimum value. Maximum value I don't know, so I write infinity and with the open bracket. So this is my domain. So depends upon, if the condition is given in the question, I can use the square bracket. If I don't have the condition and I know I can put any value, so my domain is my minus infinity to infinity, or you can write x belongs to R, right? Now let's have a discussion about the range here. I know that whatever I will put here, I'll put a negative value, positive value. The answer is always positive because there is a square. Square of a negative number is also positive. So if I will talk about the range, if I will talk about the range of the function, it is from, because if I'm taking x as 0, I know that y is also 0. So it starts from 0. So 0 is my minimum value. 0 is my minimum value. So I know my minimum value. I'm using the square bracket. I don't know the maximum value. It could be anything on the right hand side of x-axis. So it's infinity with the square open bracket, that is this open bracket, right? So this is my range. So y belongs to 0 to infinity, right? Because there is a square, so square gives you a positive value always. And if I put x as 0, y is also getting 0, because square of 0 is also 0. So this is my range. So range is nothing. Range is the output and domain is my input. Maximum times the domain is same for most of the functions. Most of the function. I'm not saying for every function. It is almost the same that x belongs to R. Any real number we can put. Range is different for every question. It's completely different. I will say